what have you specifically changed about your personality or your actions? Have you physically said, I'm not going to do that anymore, or I'm going to do this more?
Yes. So I think it started off with a conversation I had with a guest around trauma. I think actually one thing that's important to say is that not every conversation we have is very heavy. So I think a lot of what we've spoken about today is relatively heavy, but actually there's lots of conversations I have. I had a guest the other day that is a stand-up comedian, but he's also delved a lot into the science of humor and how you can use humor in the same way that you would use things like yoga or mindfulness as like a way of being able to de-stress and actually make yourself feel better. So I don't want people thinking that every conversation is like super heavy and super down. Actually, I think there's quite probably balance.
I took some notes from that and I shared that with Sarah, and she's well up for it. The idea that, to quote a little bit from that episode. So he says, when you have a funny moment or a really beautiful moment of laughter, you write it down, and he puts it in this box. And I think it's on New Year's Eve. They have a glass of wine or a drink and they open the box and they relive every happy event from that year. I was like, that's
lovely.
That's a superpower. That's beautiful.
That's really cool.
Yeah, I totally agree. So there's definitely a mix, but this particular one was talking about trauma, and it was talking about trauma with a capital T and trauma with a small t. Because I think when we think about things that have traumatized us, we'll try and think about big events that may or may not have happened to us. But actually, the traumas with a small t can very easily build up over time without you even realizing it. And it got me thinking about certain things that have happened in my life and reflecting on things. I'd almost not feel ashamed about talking about it because someone else would have something that's much bigger, but I just kind of downplayed it. But actually, I realized it was having quite a big impact on how I was now. And I've tried to actively counteract that and get better. And from another conversation, the biggest mind shifts that I've had is around this idea of scarcity versus abundance mindset. So a scarcity mindset is one where you're just constantly feeling like you need more. If people have got things that you don't, that's a bad thing. And an abundance mindset is one where you just feel like you're overflowing with goodness and joy, and you've just got so many things, good things going on to the point where you want to be giving that to other people. And I really realized that I had been and have been living in quite a scarcity mindset. And I've really now tried to, so like every morning now I do some deep breathing where I'm really thinking about absorbing an abundancy mindset and pushing out a scarcity mindset. And it has had a big impact in just my mindset in terms of like, I just feel more present. I feel more optimistic.